How selfish are modern women? Modern women are extremely entitled, extremely selfish, and extremely delusional. Because it's going on Q2 in this dose, I'm going to be reacting to some recent data that I found that supports why I say feminism is cancer and has led to the devaluation of marriage and family in modern women. But before I react to it, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and share my content with your family, friends, colleagues, and peers so that they can ingest the Q pill as well. Let's get a dose of this shit. Now, I've said over and over again that feminism is cancer. Stage 4 has metastasized out of control. It has eroded the bedrock of society, which is marriage and family. I support marriage and a nuclear family being the best possible method, strategy to make sure that healthy communities remain, are maintained, and sustained. But with feminism's ideologies, feminism's values, and feminism's attitudes about what women should prioritize and what women should put off when it comes to marriage and family, I despise it. I reject it. I can't stand it. I think it's asinine. I think it goes against women's biological nature. And if you ask me, it does way more harm than good when it comes to the overall macro perspective about the outlook of society. And what actually supports this is the research that I stumbled across recently. The Institute of Family Studies conducted a survey asking 3,000 American women what would be their ideal sequence of relationship stages. The options were meet the family, have kids, buy a house, get married, move in together, or cohabitate. And women were asked to sequence these stages of the relationship in the preferred order that they would want these stages of the relationship to happen. And first was meet the family. So in an ideal world, women want to meet the family before they even have sex. The second was have sex. The next was move in together. The next was get married, then buy a house, and then have kids. They want to do all of these things first and then have kids last, which in a sense makes sense because it promotes the idea of structure and stability, which is what we all want before we bring a new life into this world. So that's understandable. However, the issue with this is when you cross-reference this data with a woman's attitude towards marriage and family, you begin to see how unlikely and how unrealistic this actually is, because women prioritize their careers and think their careers matter more than starting a family and having a happy marriage. Now, if you think about how long it takes to buy a house, with the average homeowner age being 36 nowadays in this economy, it is 36 when the average person purchase a home. Average age of marriage for a woman is about 28 years old. So get married at 28, buy a house at 36. What does that mean for a woman's fertility? Has anyone ever heard of the term geriatric pregnancy? You know, by age 35, pregnancy for a woman becomes really high risk, meaning her eggs are much more likely to be compromised and she's much more likely to produce kids who have genetic defects, autism, things of that nature, things that mothers typically wouldn't want their kids to have to grow up with or be born with or experience in general. Yet that would be the ideal sequence of which women believe is the most effective route in obtaining their relationship goals, having children last. And if you ask me, apparently that's really, really asinine, because that tells me that women do not calculate the time it takes for them to accomplish their goals, prioritize going to school, prioritize their career, then get married, buy a house, and have a family, because they don't consider that they have to be picked too. They don't consider that they have biological clocks. They don't consider that the way they would want things to happen is not actually reasonable in the sequence in which they would prefer for it to happen. You know why? Because every man is not going to want to settle down with a 36-year-old woman. Every man is not going to want to have kids with a 36-year-old woman. And as I said, we're just using the average age in which homeowners are known to purchase houses, which would be 36. Women don't seem to realize that that's a little too late to be trying to conceive a child. That's problematic. And the fact that they don't think about the fact that that's problematic, and they think that in an idealistic world they would want to have kids after age 36, you see why modern women are really stupid. Then there was another source of data I came across which was done by Pew Research Center, in which they asked both men and women, but I want to focus on the women. They asked women what would be the most important or satisfying aspect of living a healthy and satisfying and fulfilling life. Job and career, a strong social circle, marriage, or family. And do you know what the majority of modern women voted? Job and career. And they voted that job and career would be the most important, even more so than the men did. So men, modern men, prioritize their job and career less than modern women do, and prioritize marriage and family more than modern women do. Does anybody not see how the inverse of biology is at play here? How the fuck did we get to this point? We have women, modern women, believing that they somehow need to obtain a certain level of status for what? In a society that's supposed to be patriarchal, that doesn't give a fuck about how much money women make. Yet, they're prioritizing themselves, their job, and their career over what would ultimately give them the most fulfillment that we know biologically they have been wired. They are adapted to biologically be fulfilled by, which is marriage and children. They want status and prestige and money even more so than men do, when men are the ones who have all the selective pressure on them to get status, prestige, and resources because it makes them more desirable to women. And the opposite happens when women actually obtain a certain amount of status, prestige, education, resources. They become less desirable to most men because they don't even want most men, because they've accomplished more than most men and eliminated most men from their dating pool the more they accomplish. Western society is as ass backwards as it could possibly be, and no one sees how this will be the ultimate downfall of Western society, even though we think we're doing the right thing by trying to create this egalitarian utopia to where women can do whatever they want and accomplish whatever they want, but then still think they can turn around and settle down when they're ready, despite the fact that their biological clock doesn't align with everything that they want to do for themselves. How selfish are modern women? Modern women are extremely entitled, extremely selfish, and extremely delusional, because there's no way in hell that you would think as a woman that prioritizing your career and your job will be the most satisfying and fulfilling thing, when ultimately you are hardwired to want to have a relationship, want to get married, and have kids. But you want to put those things off until you're satisfied with your job and career, which I'm sure would mean they've climbed the corporate ladder and they're making a substantial amount of money to where they feel that they can support a family. But why would women even feel inclined to want to support a family when you have a man right there? And this is the difference between men and women. A man makes money so he can support a family. A woman makes money so she can support herself, so she can brag about herself, so she can feel self-fulfilled. She did it all on her own. She didn't need any help. And that in itself is a cancerous ass attitude to have, because women aren't operating for the greater good. Women aren't operating for delayed gratification. They aren't operating for future generations. Women are operating for themselves in the moment, for their own satisfaction. And that's why I say feminism is cancer, and modern women are a lost cause who have lost their way and don't even realize the negative implications of these deleterious attitudes, values, and mentalities that they now have, that are egocentric and self-serving, and ultimately undermine their biological purpose. We could thank feminism, we could thank birth control, we could thank the simps. This is what y'all wanted. And only when these modern women are washed up and they realize that their eggs are no longer in optimal condition for healthy reproduction, and that they've foregone the opportunity to actually settle down in the early stages of their life, or the earlier stages of their life, and actually contribute to society in the ways that they always have, by producing kids and raising them to go on to repeat so that we continue to thrive and reproduce. Only when they're washed up will they come to realize the mistake that they've made that can't be undone. I don't believe that that's a level of regret that modern women want to experience. Some may not, but many will. They will have no one to blame but themselves, because feminism has steered them wrong. And we've tried to redirect the ship, but they don't want to listen because they think they know it all, until they come to realize that they knew nothing at all. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll catch you guys on the next dosage of Q-Bill. Over and out.